This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Dr. Sem Saturday Yankee Show. Welcome to Saturday, and let's make today a great day. I love beginning every day by thinking about how great it can be. And of course, it's the off season for baseball, but one of the wonderful things about being a Yankees fan, and one of the things I've always loved, I loved it more years ago than I do today, though I'm hoping today is like years ago, is or was the fact that the Yankees were always very active in the off season. It seemed like every year the Yankees were in on every big trade, every free agent. They didn't get every player, but there was speculation and there was rumor and there was hope. The last few years, the last many years, in fact, the Yankees have sat out a lot of those big time deals. They've let other teams get involved. They've said we're not interested. But somehow it seems that this year, it just might be a little different. This year might be the year that the Yankees go back to being the Yankees. Oh boy, when the Yankees are in on the free agents and right in the mix in the trading, it gets exciting. This is what the hot stove is all about. One of the things I've never understood about the Yankees is their willingness to say, nah, we're not going to take part, which is what they've done many of the last few off seasons. That doesn't make sense. If you go out, if you're a team like the Yankees and you sign a big time player, you're going to create interest. The fans are going to get excited. People who buy tickets are going to get excited. People who buy tickets for other fans are going to get excited, especially if you do this in the days and week leading up to the holidays. And then all of a sudden you think, what should I get him or her for Christmas? Oh, I know. I'm going to get them some Yankee tickets. They'd love that. The Yankees just got Superstar X. It's going to be a great year in the Bronx. It seems as though the Yankees are willing to be big players. According to the New York Post earlier this week, the Yankees are in, or at least having discussions with Xander Bogaerts and Trey Turner. Hal Steinbrenner stood up at the owners' meeting, and he said, I will not be outbid for Aaron Judge. That's impressive. And of course, earlier in the week, the Yankees re-signed their free agent first baseman, Anthony Rizzo. That was huge. As we've talked about online on Start Spreading the News, the greatest, the most wonderful, the most excellent Yankees blog. Seriously, if you haven't checked us out, we're not like any other Yankees blog. We're not negative. We're not positive. We are honest. And our articles are well written, they're in depth, and they're thought provoking. And we don't copy other people's ideas or thoughts. Hey, there have been many a time when our ideas and thoughts have ended up in all sorts of other places, on TV shows, on other blogs, in newspapers. We write something, maybe it's just coincidence, and the next thing you know, people are talking about it, but we don't do it that way. All off season long, we're going to have 3 articles every single day. We've been putting out at least 3 or 4 articles every single day since we opened shop way back in 2017. We've had over 3 million page views. The site is just exploding. People love it. We have articles every day at 6 a.m., at noon, and at 6 p.m. And every one of them is a little different. Every one of them is looking at the Yankees and baseball from a different perspective. Sometimes they're historical, sometimes they're current, sometimes they're speculative. Sometimes we have fun features like I'm counting down the best Yankees uniform numbers of all time, who is best at each number. We're showing old Peanuts cartoons year by year, season by season, as we're calling it. Looking at Tommy John's career and trying to find him those 12 extra wins so that he could be a 300 game winner, at least an imaginary 300 game winner. Tommy John belongs in the Hall of Fame, and so much more. So if you haven't seen Start Spreading the News, you really should. We have great interviews on Thursdays. It's just great. It's just great. So anyway, on the site, we've been talking about the fact that if the Yankees don't bring back Anthony Rizzo, oh boy, the first base market is not very deep. And without Anthony Rizzo, the Yankees could have been in trouble. The Yankees, historically, and this is one of my gripes with the way they've been run these last many years. The Yankees historically basically do three things to be successful. It's a simple formula. Number one, they use their great financial wealth, their strength. They are baseball's most valuable franchise. They use that strength to bring in the best players when the best players are available. Number two, they build their pitching around strong left-handed starters. Quick quiz, name the Yankees' left-handed starters. That's right, Nestor Cortez. But one man does not make a rotation. And they're built around left-handed power hitters. Think about the Yankees of the late 70s, all those left-handed power hitters, Reggie Jackson, Chris Chambliss, Greg Nettles. Think about it. Think about the Yankees of the Jeter era. Jorge Posada was a switch hitter. Bernie Williams was a switch hitter. Both of them provided left-handed power. You also had Paul O'Neill. You had Darryl Strawberry. You had Tino Martinez. In 2000, they had brought in David Justice. You need power lefty bats. Jason Giambi, Hideki Matsui, on and on. The Yankees bring in, and they're successful when they have left-handed power. Now, granted, Giambi's teams never won a World Series, but Matsui's did, 2009. So the Yankees need to use their financial wealth. They need left-handed starting pitching, preferably power lefty pitching, but not necessarily, power lefty bats, absolutely. Anthony Rizzo is an excellent defensive first baseman. He is a leader. He is a winner. And that also cannot be minimalized. But he's a left-handed power hitter. He didn't have a great batting average in 2022, this last year. But you know what? I'm not too worried about the batting average. He did very well in the home run department. And his batting average should get better over the next year as they outlaw the shift. Although Rizzo is a guy who does choke up on the bat with two strikes, something else I like about his profile, and he's not afraid to go the other way. So I'm excited because the Yankees brought back Rizzo. They did it quickly. Looks like they're going to bring back Judge. I say he's getting a 9-year deal for $333 million. I said that on the Start Spreading the News podcast, which airs here on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network every Monday night at 9 p.m. I said that last week as I was talking with the co-host, my dear friend, EJ Fagan. I said, that's the number, 333. Add them all up and it equals 9. And Aaron Judge's number is 99. You could, well, it's just speculation, but I'd like to say you could bank on it. Don't. I'm not a gambling man. In fact, one of the things about our site, Start Spreading the News, is you'll never find any gambling talk. We don't take any advertising from gamblers. We have minimal advertising anyway. But I've been approached a million times, I'm exaggerating, but many, many times, by all sorts of gambling sites. Link to us. You'll make lots of money. You'll make tons of money. Put us on your site. I just won't do it. I think gambling and sports should be two separate things, and I don't want to mix the two. And I know that gambling can lead to some really destructive behaviors, and I just don't want to promote that on my site. Start Spreading the News. So anyway, don't bet that Aaron Judge will get $333 million, but think about it a lot, and maybe I'll be right. That's my great prediction. I think he's coming back. There were times during the season where I thought he wasn't, but my gut is that he's coming back. Now, I wrote an article for the Internet Baseball Writers Association. I'm a member of the IBWAA, and that article published just a couple of days ago on their daily or weekly newsletter. It's really a daily newsletter called Here's the Pitch. I contribute to that newsletter once a month. Anyway, here's my big thought. A lot of people have disagreed with me on this, but again, I guarantee I'm right. Even if Aaron Judge signs with another team, I guarantee you, I'm almost convinced, well, I am convinced, and I'm almost 100% positive that when the day comes that Aaron Judge's career is over, whether or not he re-signs with the Yankees, that he'll be in Monument Park. You say, no way, bad blood if he leaves. The Yankees will never forgive him. Yes, they will. Absolutely, positively. Last year, he hit 62 home runs. He had a legendary season. He's a Yankees MVP. The Yankees love to recognize those types of players in Monument Park. Did you know that even if he's done as a Yankee right now, Aaron Judge, let me make sure I give you the exact right number. Let me pull that article up. Aaron Judge is right now 24th all time on the Yankees in WAR. 24th. Think about that. He's already a top 25 player in Yankees history. That's the type of profile that goes into Monument Park most often. I'll get to that in a moment, too. But he's not just a top 25 player. He's a top 25 player who has a huge signature moment that lasted for an entire season, an MVP year, and the all-time record in home runs. So even if he goes somewhere else, the Yankees are going to recognize that. The Yankees need Aaron Judge in Monument Park. They can't do it if he's on the San Francisco Giants next year and for the next 10 years. But when it's all over and this career is done, the Yankees will welcome him back. It'll be a big moneymaker. And Aaron Judge will want that recognition himself. It's mutually convenient for both of them. Now, if Aaron Judge stays as a Yankee, if he stays, and if I can pull up the article real quickly right here, and he averages just 4 WAR per season. And for the most part, he averages between 5 and 6. Last year, he had 10.6 WAR, which is just off the charts. But if he averages just 4 WAR a season, he'll end with 69 WAR. And you know what that would do? That would put him in 6th place all time. Out of everybody who ever played on the Yankees, he would only be behind Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, and Derek Jeter. And if you give him just 2.4 WAR more over that 8 years, not each year, just in total, or if he plays a 9th year or a 10th year and he accumulates just 2.4 WAR in addition, he would pass Derek Jeter and jump into 5th place all time. How about that? Yeah, Aaron Judge is already in the upper echelon of Yankees. Now, that doesn't mean I would pay him $40 million a year for 10 years. I don't think the contract is going to age well at all. I'm not a big fan of just opening up my wallet and saying, Aaron Judge, take whatever you want. I don't think that's a great idea. But I do think the Yankees should re-sign him. I do think that if they re-sign him, that they have to continue to spend money because there's a lot of weaknesses on the 2023 team. But again, as I said at the start, I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by the fact that Hal Steinbrenner said I won't be outbid. I'm encouraged by the fact that they signed Anthony Rizzo. And I'm encouraged by the fact that there's at least noise that they're looking at other players. I hope the Yankees go all in. If you're going to bring back Judge, you need to go all in and build a great team around him, or it'll be nothing different than the California Angels, for example, with Mike Trout. Does not have a great supporting staff. He does have Shohei Ohtani. Oh, and I've got an Ohtani stat that'll knock your lights out. But except for Trout and Ohtani the last number of years, that team hasn't gone anywhere. And the same thing could happen with Aaron Judge if the Yankees don't build around him. Now, of course, everyone's saying the Yankees should stay out of the shortstop market, and I don't necessarily disagree because Anthony Volpe is arriving and Oswald Peraza is here. Except Oswald Peraza was here. The Yankees brought him up. And unfortunately, one of the things that Aaron Boone was supposedly going to be so great at was building up young players. And here was a great young player to build up. But no, he sat the bench. It was an opportunity cost. The Yankees never got him consistent playing time. And because of that, he goes into next year as an unknown. And forgive me if I'm a little skeptical about how great these players and Jason Dominguez and the others are supposedly going to be. It seems like I've been sold this bill of goods before. Miguel Andujar, no one hits like him. That's what we were told. Clint Frazier, oh my goodness, we just got the greatest minor leaguer ever. He can run, he can field, he can hit. He's unbelievable. Can't miss. Greg Bird, Mike Ford. Even when Chris Gittins came up, they're like, you know what? This guy profiles as somebody even better than his numbers. Remember when Bubba Crosby was going to be the Yankees center fielder? No doubt about it. He's so great. My goodness, I have a huge list. What about Jose Tabata? What about Gary Sanchez? What about Jesus Montero? In fact, it wasn't that long ago that the Yankees said, you know, we have two of the greatest shortstop prospects in baseball. They're both can't miss. These two guys are going to be so great that it's going to just, you might as well just give us the World Series. We've got Jorge Mateo. And even better than that, we've got Gleyber Torres. You know, Gleyber's had some good years, some nice years, but he's been wildly inconsistent. He's certainly not a superstar. And Jorge Mateo has bounced around for a number of different teams. He just played pretty well for Baltimore, but so forgive me if I'm not overly enthusiastic. Maybe this time they're right. Maybe this time Volpe, Peraza, Dominguez, Trey Sweeney, on and on, Austin Wells. Maybe these guys really are the real deal. Wouldn't that be great? But forgive me. Please forgive me if I'm a little skeptical. We've heard this before. If I were the Yankees and there's a big market for one of those young guys, I wouldn't get rid of all of them. But Volpe or Peraza, if there's a big market and you can get Xander Bogaerts or Trey Turner or do something really exciting, you know, I really seriously consider doing that. Of course, with the caveat that the Yankees still need somewhere to get a left-handed bat or two in the lineup. Anthony Rizzo alone is not that guy. Andrew Benintendi could be that guy, but he doesn't project as a power hitter. So I like the idea of Benintendi, but then you still need another left-handed bat somewhere. That's where the problem's going to be. I also made the article, the discussion in an article earlier this week that if the Yankees bring back Aaron Judge, I do think it's time to say goodbye, and they might have to eat a lot of salary to Giancarlo Stanton. I was all in on the Stanton signing trade, basically. I was all in on it 100%. Absolutely. I thought that was signifying that the Yankees were coming back big time and going after all the great players. That's how I like it when the Yankees operate. But then they got Stanton and they said, well, we have Stanton. We can't get Bryce Harper. I didn't realize it was a one or the other type of thing. I thought it could be both, and it should have been. But anyway, Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge, while Aaron Judge is significantly better than Giancarlo Stanton, but they project so similarly. Big time, right-handed power hitters, outfielders. They hit the ball hard. When they're hot, they're unstoppable. When they're not, they don't really look very good. They flail at pitches down and away out of the strike zone. Now, Judge, again, has gotten better at that, but rather than complementing each other, being complementary pieces, I think they actually distract from one another. I think they project so similarly that if they're both not at their peak, they can be pitched to. On most seasons, Aaron Judge couldn't be pitched to for the most part last year, though in the playoffs he could be. And it's time then for the Yankees, because that's one of the few positions where you could get a good left-handed bat, to look at the DH spot and get another big lefty bat. Yesterday came across that Clay Bellinger, or Cody Bellinger, Clay was the former Yankee, was just let go by the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, here's a former MVP, big lefty bat. But I have to tell you, please no to Bellinger. Please no to Bellinger. He has been one of the worst hitters the last 2 years. Over his last 900 plate appearances, really, including the 2020 season, he is not the hitter he was when he was an MVP. And that MVP great season came with a lively baseball in 2019. So, no, we don't want Cody Bellinger. That's not the answer. The Yankees have to get a little more creative. The guy they should have had, and I'll say it again and again, and I've said it since they didn't get him, because I thought that was part of the master plan originally, was Bryce Harper. How they let him go, I'll never know. You know, many of the last weeks, I've been talking a lot about the big Roy White event. That was just a few days ago, last Thursday. Here we are. That's me. That's Roy White. We are at Ramapo College. We had a nice room full of people. We raised lots and lots of money for the Roy White Foundation. And as you know, Roy White and I have collaborated on his book. It's his autobiography, From Compton to the Bronx. It's coming out by Artemisia Publishers, the same people who published my Yankees book, The Least Among Them. And our book, the book with Roy White and myself, that book is coming out in April. So our event was a big success. I thank everyone for their donations and for coming into attendance. We had a great silent auction. It was really a really excellent activity, a great evening. And we're going to do another even bigger event in April to coincide with the book's release. Roy White, of course, one of the great Yankees of all time. You could argue, and I think it's a pretty strong argument, I don't even think there's an argument against it, that he's the greatest left fielder in Yankees history. We were talking about Monument Park at the top of the show. Aaron Judge will be there. Roy White belongs there. Roy White played on the Yankees from 1965 through 1979. Quick quiz. Name all the players who were a Yankee for the entire decade of the 70s. Answer, Roy White. There it is. He played with Mantle. He played with Maris. He played with Whitey Ford. He played with Reggie and Thurman Munson and Greg Nettles. He was a World Series player 3 times. He was a world champion 2 times. He sits among the leaders. We were talking about Aaron Judge before. Aaron Judge is still way below Roy White in all-time WAR. Roy White sits among the Yankee leaders in virtually every single offensive category. Quick quiz. Who holds the Major League record for the most sacrifice flies in a season? That's right, Roy White, tied with Bobby Bonilla, who tied him a number of years ago. But Roy White spent an entire season, 1971, without making any errors in left field. One of the toughest sun fields in baseball. And that was the old Yankee Stadium, not the old remodeled Yankee Stadium, the original Yankee Stadium with the true Death Valley in left center field. He played out there an entire season and made no errors. Roy White also served as a Yankee coach, a Yankee executive. He helped tons of Yankee players. Bernie Williams today gives Roy White credit for making him the hitter he is. Roy White has been a Yankee for a long time, a dignified, classy, distinguished, wonderful human being, and a great Yankee. And it's time. It's way past time for the Yankees to honor Roy White and put him in Monument Park. And as I've said for many other players, they should retire his number. It's very simple. The number's already retired. It's uniform number 6. They retired it for Joe Torre. All you have to do is say, you know what? Roy White was a great Yankee. One of the top Yankees, way in the top 10. I think he's 7th all time in games played. And for a long time, it was in the top 5. The only guys who passed him in recent decades are Jeter and Bernie Williams. So again, you think of the great Yankees, Berra, Mantle, Ruth, and I think Gehrig were the top 4. And then it was Roy White. Jeter passed them all, and Bernie Williams snuck above Roy White. But those are the guys who've played the most games as a Yankee. Those are the guys who make the Yankees what they are. And they all deserve to be in Monument Park, and only one of those names isn't. And it's time to fix that huge and unjust mistake. My goodness, one of the things I love about this show is we just get talking about the Yankees, and it goes on, and there's so much to talk about. And then all of a sudden, it's the bottom of the hour. We have so many things to talk about. A lot of people are saying the Yankees should get Shohei Ohtani. I teased this a couple minutes ago. They said he could spend some time in the outfield. Number one, the Yankees aren't getting Ohtani. It's not happening. There's no way the Angels are sending him to the Yankees. The Yankees don't have the prospects to even trade for him. I don't think the Yankee prospects are regarded highly enough that they could net a player like Shohei Ohtani. But this idea that Shohei Ohtani could play the outfield and help the Yankees out there is the statistic that I was going to share before. We'll get into this in more detail and in more depth on Start Spreading the News, the greatest Yankee site there is, and also on the Start Spreading the News podcast and on the Dr. Sem Saturday Morning Yankee Show. But Shohei Ohtani is not an outfielder. He is not an outfielder. He doesn't play in the outfield. People say he plays in the outfield. He pitches and plays in the outfield. He does not. He pitches and he DHs. In his entire Major League career, here's the last trivia question of the day. In his entire Major League career, how many plays has Shohei Ohtani made in the outfield? He's been out there 7 games, a grand total of 7 games, for a grand total of 8.1 innings. That's his entire outfield career since coming to the major leagues. And he still wasn't playing outfield most years in Japan, except his first year and his second year, where he played a little tiny bit his second year. And then the rest of his time in Japan, he didn't play in the outfield. But the question is, how many plays has Shohei Ohtani made in the outfield in his entire Major League career? 0. Look it up. Go to Baseball Reference. Look up his fielding stats. 0. He's not an outfielder. He's a great player. I'd love him to be on the team. I want all the great players to be on the Yankees. I want Shohei Ohtani to be a Yankee. He won't be. But even if he is, he's not an outfielder. He doesn't play out there. All right. Looks like we're going to wrap it up. Coming up at 8 a.m., just a few short minutes from now, the Mac, Jack, and Doc and Pags Saturday morning debate show. We have lots of great topics to discuss. As always, we'll be back there at 8. Jack's show, Glove Fist, comes on every Monday at 7. My show, the Start Spreading the News program with Dr. E.J. Fagan, is on every Monday at 9 p.m. This show, of course, comes to you every Saturday at 7 a.m. The Dr. Sem Saturday Yankee Show. My goodness, I have so many notes, so many things I wanted to talk to you about. Just not enough time. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful day. And remember, every day can be and should be a great day. Make it so. You can. I know you can. Let's go Yankees.